Welcome back to some more Umineko when they cry. So, where we last left off, Willard gets explained about Maria's experience of meeting with Beatrice. Willard using the theater going authority of the such, in which it her ex in which Maria's explanation about Beatrice is very different compared to the previous episodes, in which it revolves biblical references and something to do with Rosa. Something to do with Rosa is like, I can't really recall per se. All I know is that Maria usually made a belief to where she refers to herself as the child of the Holy Ghost, and such. And while I try to, understand some sort of like the philosophy of it, or like the explanation of it, and then it gets wrapped up to where Willard, talks to Jessica and George. Oh yeah, that's the thing. Willard tried to ask Maria about the explanation to see if Maria can explain about the mariage sorcière, and Maria's like, "No, I don't want to," and she just walks off. Bit amusing per se, but oh well. And I thought, I assume that Willard wants to know, because I know Angie was supposedly part of the mariage sorcière until she got let off, let off, But that aside, anyway, let's continue. Nothing wrong with the. Oh, right. This is if I scroll up, because I stopped right during the when Willard um teased. Well, he didn't really tease her with the that she's part of a band, you know, of a rock band, but he was like, right, you don't play music, and that revolved into that. Nothing wrong with the extraordinary accomplished sort, like Leon, but kids who, at their age, do have their charms.
そういう生き方が一番だ。謳歌しろ、青春を。
そりゃどうもありがとう。
That sounds like the advice. The way Willard says it is like someone would say when someone is way older than you. Excuse me. Apparently, no one had ever told Jessica that they approved of how she lived, and the direct way Will had put it made her turn red and hang her head in embarrassment.
今度はお前たちに話が聞きたい。
さっきマリアちゃんとしていた？
そうだ。ベアトリーチェについて知っていることを聞きたい。
マリアちゃんはオカルトや魔女のことが大好きだからね。
Obviously.
彼女にとってベアトリーチェはアニメのヒロインと同じ憧れの存在なんだよ。
Like an anime heroine. Good one. I mean, that's the thing. If they treated Beatrice like some sort of god, then let's add some anime. I guess treated like some most popular anime character. I guess.
何か些細なことがあるたびに、それを魔女の魔法によるいたずらだと信じてる。
お前は大人だな。そしてそうは思ってもマリアには絶対に言わないところも大人だ。
当然さ。子供の夢は子供の時にしか見られない。その貴重な経験を尊重するのが大人の仕事だと思ってるよ。
True.
お前とは話が合いそうだ。
George's position was that Beatrice was nothing more than a fairy tale, well, because it is a fantasy tale. However, that phrase, respecting a child's dream is the adult thing to do, that might be worthy of further scrutiny. When she got candy from Beatrice by magic, Maria probably got excited and told George and the others. Then the adults followed his lead and actively supported that story, as adults should. However, we can conceive of a similar situation coming up besides an adult interacting with a child. For example, what about a subordinate interacting with a superior? If Kinzo, tyrant of the Ushiromiya family, claimed that Beatrice existed and had revived, perhaps the other members of the family would actively support that story, as his subordinates should. Though Beatrice only appeared directly in front of a limited number of people, it's probably safe to say that the concept of her existence penetrated deeply within the Ushiromiya family, even among those who had never seen her. I guess, when one person tell his or her friends, the story of something that a story to be believable, then then people should, believe in this, They will support that, tragic story as as the as their friends should. I don't know. Even among those who had never seen. However, no matter how deeply that concept penetrated, she was only viewed as a sort of fairy tale character. It would be necessary to transform the concept of that character from an imaginary fairy tale into reality. So, a person attempting to do this would need to perform acts that no one could explain without magic. These acts were the witch incidents, starting with the window opening pranks played by Beato the Elder, and ending with the closed room murders. Beato the Elder talked about this, saying that the anti-magic power filling the mansion would be weakened bit by bit the more she made her existence known. Beatrice, why were you willing to go so far to make everyone besides you accept your existence? Because that fiction will become the truth if everyone acknowledges it? Because at that moment, the being called Beatrice will be acknowledged and will become human? In that case, until Beatrice is acknowledged by all people, she's less than human. She's furniture. Why would furniture want to become human? I seem to remember this being a theme in the previous game. Is because they want to gain a right. Furniture cannot... What's the word? Furniture cannot fuck? So, they try to become human because they want the right to... Is this like a hint? Or was that the word that I should already remember right now? They want the right to... It's extremely simple. After all, it's directly connected to the reason Chick Beato was born in the first place. To exist. Well, it said like 4, symbols, so it's like it's a word. But I know it's like I know what the word should be, but the thing is like it's limited to 4 letters. So it's like, and then I'm pretty sure furniture cannot fuck. I mean, the word fuck would be pretty funny if it is true, but I don't think that would be the cuss word to use, that one. But because I was like, wait a minute, then what's the right answer to shoehorn the word in? The right to connect, the will to, whatever. After all, it's directly connected to the reason Chick Beato was born in the first place.
なるほどな。分かってはいるが複雑だ。
Yeah, you can't neglect the heart.
ベアトリーチェの葬儀に参加しておいてこんなことを言うのも申し訳ないけれど、僕も説明できるほどベアトリーチェという人物のことに詳しくないんです。申し訳ない。
Oh, wait a minute. I see. Wait. I think I know. The previous game was talking about love, and it's like, so love is a forbidden. I know I see what they did there. They want to become human, so they want to have the right to love. God, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I used the fucking cuss word for that.
その話はここに住んでるジェシカちゃんの方が僕よりももう少しは詳しいかもしれない。そういえばジェシカちゃん、こちらの方を紹介したっけ？
いや、実はまだ。お客様がいらっしゃるってのに尻ばっかつねるどっかの誰かのせいできちんと挨拶もできなかったぜ。
A bit late, Jessica looked embarrassed for acting rudely in front of an unfamiliar guest. That's the funny thing with that little censor word is like, because I know what it means is it's supposed to say love, but I guess considering how forbidden that word is, they shouldn't put that there, because last episode, I guess love is too much of a romance fantasy of the such. Wait, hold on. Bit late, Jessica looked embarrassed for acting rudely in front of an unfamiliar guest. She cleared her throat and made a beautiful bow that didn't fit well with her normal attitude. She even lifted the corners of her skirt in a curtsy. That's funny.
はじめまして。ジェシカと申します。本日は後ろ宮家へようこそ。いや、お日柄もよく、
ウィラードだ。ウィルと呼べ。
Jessica's greeting had been of the old-fashioned sort, so Will also treated her like an old-fashioned lady, bending down on one knee, taking Jessica's right hand, and kissing it. Not expecting her greeting to be returned in such an old-fashioned and formal way, Jessica turned red and was unable to speak. However, Will had returned the greeting in what he thought was a perfectly serious way, so he didn't understand what was making Jessica's face glow.
何かおかしいことをしたか？
いや、全然。
お前の知っているベアトリーチェの話が聞きたい。
Yeah, already Willard already talked to George about his thoughts about Beatrice. What about Jessica this time? A sparkle leaked around the edges of Will's right hand, which was grasping Jessica's hand. What the hell? Looks like the theater-going power is having its effect on Jessica. Didn't mean for that to happen. Oh well.
ベアトリーチェのことだっけ？話してもいいけど、約束してくれる？絶対に笑わないって。今にして思うと、きっと寝ぼけてたんだと思うから。
お前は何を知っている？ 笑わない。聞かせろ。
Yeah, go on.
いいよ。どこから話そうかな。
To me, the Golden Witch Beatrice is sort of like one of the 7 mysteries of the Ushiromiya family. You've heard of those, right? Almost all schools have a set of tall tales or ghost stories that get passed down. Like, on some days, the piano in the music room will start playing by itself, or the skeleton in the science room dances around at night. Ah, I see. One of those typical, you know, spookiness. The, the, the generic hauntings. Everyone's heard of them, but of course, that doesn't mean they believe in them. The stories about Beatrice were the same. It was just one of those strange tales about our way too big mansion. The servants would sometimes talk about seeing things during their night patrols. Sometimes I felt a bit annoyed about them turning my home into a place for ghost stories, but I didn't pay it any more attention than that. That's how little it mattered to me. So, during my normal everyday life, I would completely forget about the name Beatrice. Of course, when that huge portrait was first hung, it definitely felt creepy. Even I tried not to meet her eyes after dark, so it's no surprise that the servants found it eerie. But that only lasted for a short while. We all walked by the portrait every day. We gradually got used to it and eventually bored of it. I didn't really care anymore about the portrait of the mistress from grandfather's delusions.
だろうな。年に何度も来ない親戚連中ならともかく。
そういうこと。だから親族会議になると親戚たちが必ず肖像画の前で決まってベアトリーチェの話をする。だから定期的に思い出させられるのさ。
It's one of those occurrences.
ベアトリーチェ、また遊びに来たよ。また新しい魔法を書いたの。後で見てね。
マリアちゃんは本当にベアトリーチェが好きだな。おじい様が肖像画を掲げて以来大喜びみたいだ。
あれ、エンジェは？
That is a good question. Yeah, where is Angie after all this time, huh?
キリエおばさんと薬を飲みに戻ったよ。
エンジェは本当に体が弱えな。バートラとは大違いだぜ。
緊張すると体調を崩すタイプなんだよ。僕も昔は遠足の日や映画の日なんかに限って体調を崩したりしたもんさ。
What is... I can't tell if Angie is just... I can't even tell if Angie's body is just... It's just cursed to have a sickness whenever it happens. Or is, it's just one of those things.
それに比べたらマリアはタフだぜ。新島からこっちに来るまでの間、ずっとベアトリーチェの話三昧さ。ここしばらくずっとだけど、ちょっと行き過ぎだよな。
いいんじゃないかな。 子供の想像遊びだよ。ジェシカちゃんは子供がサンタクロースに会ったことがあるって言い出したら嘘だって言っちゃうのかい？
まあそこまでは言わねえけどさ。
That's the same question I always ask. I tend to ask over and over again. It's like, imagine being like some high-strung older adult and saying stuff like that. So Maria kept talking. Yeah. I mean, that's, that kind of question is like, saying the similar thing, but, if the little kid met the tooth fairy, will you tell that kid that the kid's a liar? Maria kept talking to the portrait as though it was an old friend. She promised to play with it later, as if she was talking to a living human. George, a man, seemed to think that this behavior from a younger member of the opposite sex was cute. But to be perfectly frank, Jessica, who was the same sex as Maria, found this behavior a bit unpleasant, even though she realized that she was dealing with a younger girl. At one time, even I was fascinated by anime heroines and other fictional characters. However, Maria's behavior seems to signify something more direct than mere fascination. It's something more definite, more vivid. Am I the only one who notices something odd about her? I'll bet the others all notice too, but try to ignore it because of that adult dignity George Nissan is always talking about. Until a second ago, Kinzo's children had been complaining that eating lunch with their father would give them indigestion. But now that they knew he wasn't coming, they started grumbling about how he should at least spare the time to come down during the annual family conferences.
それでは皆様、ランチを始めさせていただきます。遠方よりお集まりの皆様をおもてなしできるよう、この号だ。腕によりをかけてご用意させていただきました。
No one's stomach would fail to rumble after hearing that from the great chef Goda. By the time the splendid dishes were laid out, everyone had stopped talking about Kinzo's absence. It was now Angie's absence that was being discussed. Apparently, her stomachache had gotten so bad that both she and Kiri couldn't make it to lunch.
かわいそうに。ゴーダ後でキリエさんに相談しておかゆのようなものを用意するように。
ああ、気を利かせてくれてありがとう。本当にすまねえな。どうも緊張に弱い子みたいでな。
幼いうちはそんなもんや。
What is Angie getting stressed over, I wonder? Is Angie also the child that doesn't want to be dragged into the family reunion?
吐いたりしないだけ可愛いもんやで。
ジョージはよく吐いたわね。昔は本当に病弱だったのよ。ね
え。昔の話は許してよ。食事時にする話じゃないよ。
エンジェかわいそう。こんな美味しいご飯なのに食べられない？
かわいそうにな。 元気になったらその分いっぱい遊んであげようぜ。
ダメ。マリアとは遊べない。
What do you mean? That's a weird behavior.
なんだよ。どうして？
だってマリアはベアトリーチェと遊ぶんだもん。
Oh, I did hear mention in like, oh yeah, so I think there's a reason why Beatrice, not, I think there's a reason why. I think it is hinting, it is somewhere in episode 4 that Angie was picking on Maria. I think that's as far as I can remember. Angie picked on Maria for like the things that Maria's. Angie picked on Maria for her quote-unquote hobby of hers, so that's why Maria rather, you know, that's why Maria was acting this way.
だからエンジェとは遊べない。
The fuck?
ベアトリーチェと遊ぶって。またどっかに一人で行ってぶつくさ独り言言いながら本を読んでるだけだろ。
Jessica slightly regretted that she hadn't been more tactful. However, she couldn't wipe away that uncomfortable feeling she got every time Maria talked about Beatrice, and that feeling slipped out through her words.
一人じゃないよ。ベアとも一緒だもん。
Maria may be young, but she does know how to read a person's tone. She immediately burst out in anger, drawing the attention of everyone in the room. Normally, Rosa would have stopped her at this point. However, she happened to have gone to the bathroom at that moment. Uh-oh. I mean, you already have George. And make George calm her down. So, there was no one to calm Maria down.
ジェシカはかわいそうだね。毒素の塊だもの。ベアとはまだまだ魔力が弱いからジェシカの前になんか現れたら焼き散らされてしまう。でもね、いつかきっとジェシカの前にも現れてくれるよ。誰の前にも。そして黄金鏡の扉を開いてもらうの。でも招かれるかわからないね。だけどマリアだけは連れて行ってもらえるの、黄金鏡に。でもジェシカはダメだよ。ジェシカはダメ。ベアトリーチェのことをバカにする無知猛昧愚昧曖昧愚かも極まれりの汚らしい毒素まみれの人間風情。
So you would compare Jessica to an amoeba, all because, you know, Jessica, you know, mocked the name of the witch. That's crazy.
Beatrice のことをバカにされた時のマリアと来たらまるで別人さ。
マリア二重人格説なんてのもあったな。
二重人格。ああ、そいつは多分ぴったりな表現だろうな。
A theory of... I mean, I always thought Maria had like a split personality disorder, but I don't know. I guess there's like a rare occurrence within children like Maria to where like maybe she's developing a bit of schizophrenia. Maybe that's what I think. She's been really traumatized as a child, especially with like Rosa's abuse, all the such, and then she rather like pick up the hobby because she has no friends and all that. So her mind is really fixated on that, you know, the of the magic and occult, to where like she completely forgets about, you know, the reality of the situation she's in. Especially with Maria within a family gathering. So
あるいはそれがマリアにとっての理想の人格だったのかもしれない。
or well there's that. Okay, well there's that.
自分のなりたいもう一人の自分を生み出すの話か。
I guess constructing another personality is one way.
なんで私のモットーを知ってんだよ。
難しく考えるな。頭痛になら。
It was something Jessica once told Canon. She had been talking about how anyone can create another self, quote unquote, in the image of the person they want to be. I think we heard those words somewhere near the beginning of the second game. Now that I think about it, some very interesting stuff's been mentioned since very early on.
誰だって自分が本当になりたい自分があるんだ。でもなれない。生活やしがらみの中に今の自分がいるからこそ、今の自分を変えるなんてことできやしないんだ。
そうだな。自分を変えると環境も変えるということだ。
Yeah, changing something means changing your environment as well, changing your behavior, and you know, giving up one thing over the other, that type of stuff.
それは容易なことじゃね
え。だから私は今の自分はそのままに、本当になりたい自分をもう一人生み出すことを思いついたんだ。
両家のお嬢様であることを強いられ窒息しそうな日々に、お前はなりたい自分を見出した。
だからって家で破天荒はできないさ。母さんに怒鳴られるのがオチだぜ。だからそうした。家にいるおとなしく親の言うことを聞く私に加え、本当になりたい私をもう一人生み出したんだ。
So in a way, adapting a persona. So usually, I guess, you know, at home, you know, if I guess that's one way to do so. If you're really tired of like, you know, being suffocated at home and doing the things like dealing with the same same lifestyle, same certain motion. When in doubt, you know, come up with a backup plan and you know, adapt to a persona that you want to enjoy within yourself, I guess.
家ではおとなしく親の言うことを聞き、表ではやりたいようにやる。正しい生き様だ。
Yeah, I'll pick up a hobby.
胸を張れ。
I mean, I don't know about a hobby, but yeah.
ありがとう。まあつまりなりたい自分ってのはその気になりゃ案外作り出せるもんなんだよな。マリアも同じなんだろうと思った。
I mean, Maria. Yeah, but comparing yourself to Maria is like pretty different because Maria is like creating her own identity is pretty unhinged in a way. While Jessica's while Jessica creating her own oneself is like she's not a fan of, you know, living up to the rich family standard to where like she wanted to like do something, you know, outside of the private life.
興奮してまくし立てるマリアもそうだというのか。
あれこそがマリアのなりたいマリアなんじゃないかなって、そう思うことがあるよ。
I mean, it's pretty cultish, but if this is I mean, they say a hobby is a hobby, but you know, there are some hobbies that can be pretty sus, you know.
親族で一番の年少で可愛がられてはいるが、尊敬されているわけではない。
何を知っても覚えても、そんなのは親族の誰かが知ってる。マリアに威張れることは何もない。私たちはマリアが何かを覚えるたびに微笑ましく褒めてたつもりだけど、ひょっとしたらそれが彼女を傷つけていたのかもしれない。
マリアは何かの権威になりたかったということか。
It's something that all young boys and girls think when they want to shake off their childhood. It's not a bad feeling when you learn something new and your parents praise you. But when you realize that your parents already knew that thing, it sometimes feels like they're talking down on you. When a kid learns their one-digit times table, their parents will probably praise them. However, inconsiderable parents will sometimes ask mean questions like, then what is 11 times 11? Or what is 16 times 16? Or something similar. That happens, the kid will lose its feeling of accomplishment and will start to feel as though he could never surpass his parents.
だからマリアが誰も知らないオカルトに関心を持ち、その知識を深めていったのは容易に想像できる。多分マリアにとっての理想の自分というのは、
Oh, inconsiderate. You know, it reminds me of the scenario that I was told, like, where, like, if you're in, let's say, like, what if you are a person in school and then all of a sudden, like, you have an intelligent, sharp mind. And the thing is, like, if you're too smart, the teachers will have an issue with you in it, but, you know, so, like, if you're too smart or if you're too stupid, then, you know, there are always going to be some people that have a problem with you. So it's one of those weird instances within, like, within the school administration system where it's like, it's pretty weird because it's like, I don't know, it's like, do they rather have, like, prefer people with, like, in between, like, somewhere in the middle? That's the thing, right?
みんなに尊敬されるオカルトの権威の自分なんだ。
Yeah, an authority on the occult?
普段の生活でオカルトの話ばかりしていたら、老座にぶたれるからな。お前がそうであるように、普段はもう一人の自分を隠しているというわけだ。
私はこんな時のマリアをそうだと思ってる。いや、本当の自分が普段の自分を塗りつぶしてしまったと言うべきかな。私もそういうのをちょっと覚えが。真相の霊場に憧れて病弱な自分になれたらいいなと思って、咳する真似ばっかしてたら悪い癖になって。
Become a frail, secluded lady? Don't you, like, show that you have, like, asthma or something?
咳込めば周りが優しくしてくれるからか。
いや嫌な話の流れになった時とか 空気悪い時とかに流れを断ち切れるし。
なるほど。それもまたお前のなりたいもう一人の自分なんだな。
Bit kind of a weird way of putting it, but okay.
この話は内緒で頼むぜ。
Then, just what is Maria's other self? That's a good question. An authority on the occult who can out-argue even adults? Out-debate. Or else, does it have to do with her... Excuse me. Or else, does it have to do with her relationship with witches? Either way, denying Beatrice in front of Maria is clearly taboo. Yeah, that's the weird part. Like, if you disagree about the beliefs of like Beatrice or like make fun of it, then you know Maria just tells you to go fuck yourself. In her search for something more than her everyday life, Maria found it in Beatrice and inside herself. In that case, is going to the Golden Land with Beatrice Maria's wish?
話が脱線したか。まあそんな感じで、ローザおばさんが戻ってくるまでマリアは癇癪を起こしちゃって。よせばいいのに、私も売り言葉に買い言葉で返しちゃって。
ベアトリーチェなどいるわけないと。
そんなとこいるもんなら合わせてみろよって。マリアが大泣きしだした頃にはさすがに失言が過ぎたかと後悔もしたぜ。
それで
親族会議自体は私が一方的にマリアに対しギスギスして終わり。マリアはケロリとしてたよ。一人でどこかに行ってまたベアトリーチェと一緒に遊んでたうんぬんと楽しそうに語ってたから。
That is indeed a weird pattern of behavior. You know, he just pretends that, you know, that situation really that nothing happened.
私を含め誰も頭ごなしに否定したりなんかしない。もうそういうものなんだと思って聞き流して無視してるってのが正解さ。
親族会議の話はそれで終わりなのか。
Alright, where were we at on this one? Oh, we're on chapter 7. Yeah, we've been progressing quite a bit more. Although I did like there are times that like I would tune out. Because there's usually the retelling is like the same thing but different. But I guess on this one, you know, there are some bit of a interesting bit of philosophy added to it.
この話自体はね、私がしたいのはこれが終わって親族がみんな帰ってからの話さ。
Oops. Was opening something and then another window. Even after the conference ended, I still felt a bit uncomfortable. If Maria had just stayed mad, we would have made up with each other and I could have put it all behind me. But since Maria got over it, it felt like I was the only one unsatisfied.
おやお嬢様、どうなさいましたか？お暗い顔をして。
ああ、熊沢さんか。
Good old Kumasawa.
いや別に大したことは。親族のみんなは無事に帰ったかな。
時間通りならもう新島の空港に着かれているでしょう。お嬢様もお疲れ様でございました。
Heck yeah. And we're back due to a little bit of a background interruption. So we are still in Jessica's explanation when it comes to Beatrice, although it's more of like she had a bit of an argument with Maria in which it upsetted her. So we'll see how that'll go. I guess, the whole disagreement during the dinner table would make Maria upset. You know?
私は何もしてねえぜ。使用人のみんなも本当にお疲れ様。
No words.
昨日のマリア様との喧嘩をまだ気にしておられるのですか？
まあね。
I mean, I don't know if it's kind of your fault though. I don't know. It's either Maria's fault for overreacting or, because Jessica was like, sliding in a bit of a joke, or maybe it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe both sides are at fault.
子供の言うことではありませんか。お嬢様ももう高校生なのですから、深く気にすることもないでしょうに。
熊沢さんはマリアのあれ、子供の言うただのザレ言だと思ってる？
I don't know, man. I think it's just she's a little bit too unhinged for a kid.
ベアトリーチェ様のお話でございますか？
熊沢さんもベアトリーチェ様と来たもんだ。
Beatrice is the name of grandfather's mistress, the person he's still infatuated with. I realize that, as a servant, Kumasawa-san can't speak of her indiscreetly. Still, that's now become the name of the fictitious witch who lives in this mansion, and it's almost natural for people to call her Sama.
ベアトリーチェなんて私たちが森へ行かないよう大人がでっち上げた階段だぜ。それをいつの間にかマリアが面白がって本当にいるかのように振る舞い出しやがった。
I mean, what the fuck happens when we enter in the forest? It's not like you go in the forest and then all of a sudden we become lost.
そんなことを言っては罰が当たりますよ。
Like, who's gonna stop us?
ベアトリーチェ様はいるのですから。
だからさ、そういうのダメなんだよ、生理的に。ジョージ兄さんの話じゃねえけどさ、サンタなんかいるわけねえとまで騒ぎはしねえぜ。
Yeah. Well, it doesn't sound, well, it doesn't, well, you're not really saying that to Maria, but I'm saying it's like, oh, are you gonna go back and read to your book? This is just like, you're going back to your, like, it's like the same thing when when you talk back to your, like, your younger cousins, oh, you're gonna go back to reading your Bible, that type of thing,
だからって、サンタが本当にいるわけじゃねえ。
Well,
それは間違いですよ、お嬢様。
間違い？
はい。万物八百万には神様が宿っておられます。同じようにこの島、このお屋敷にはベアトリーチェ様が宿っておられるのです。神様と同じくベアトリーチェ様も敬っていれば何も害はなしません。お嬢様の言うようにいないも同然でしょう。 しかし敬いを忘れれば必ずや罰が当たります。これは何もベアトリーチェ様に限ったことではないのですよ。
So, so in another word, you know, if you when you if you don't show her proper respect enough, too much lack of proper respect, too much lack of proper respect means karma is gonna bite you in the ass.
バチが当たるなんて上等じゃねえか。会えるもんなら会ってみてえぜ。
お嬢様、そんな罰当たりではいけませんよ。
お嬢様。
Oh.
本日はお疲れ様でございました。
シャノンにゴーダさんさ、ベアトリーチェの話は知ってるよな。
She's like, what? What are you saying?
まあ存じているといえば存じておりますが、それが何か。
The two looked at each other. They looked like a pair who had just heard a clueless person suddenly utter a forbidden word.
ぶっちゃけ聞くぜ。いるの？そんなお化け。
いるかいないかと言われれば、それはいないでしょうが、多分。
It probably doesn't exist?
私はきっといらっしゃると思います。
So we got a 50-50. Gotcha.
どうしているって？会ったことあるの？
直接会ったことがあるわけじゃありませんけど、
Don't know how long I've been going at it. I wanted to end it here anyway, so we're around 52. Yeah, we're over 53 minutes in anyway, or right around the 53-minute mark. So what do we got? So George, you know, that's the weird part. So George doesn't mind Maria's antics when it comes to Beatrice, but Jessica first, I don't know if Jessica's behavior in this one is like compared to like, an atheist, like a hypothetically an atheist under a rich family, right? But it seems like right here, she's going around and, finding the servants and ask around is whether like does Beatrice exist or not. So it reminds me of episode 1. When similar to what Badler's arguing against. But with that said, next part, I'll continue more of how this will turn out. So like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Have a good one.